And just like that, the first half is in the books. Welcome into Fantasy Baseball today on Monday, July 14th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Chris Stowers and the returning Scott White. Today on the show, we have more injuries. You need replacements. The Mets finally got some pitchers back. We'll talk waiver wire ads and much more. Scott, you are back.
I am.
How was vacation? Are you revitalized?
It was good. It was good. People may wonder what people who live in Florida, where they go on vacation. And the answer is they go to the beach. So we went to the beach on the far opposite end of Florida, as far to the opposite end of Florida as you could get. Like, it's a 12-hour drive to get there. The Alabama part
Florida's
of Florida.
too big.
It really is. And, we went to the beach for a full week, and it was nice. Saw some dolphins, saw some blue angels, got a nice little tan going, though I'm not sure. It may have already faded by now.
I can see it.
But yeah, it's good. It was a good time.
All right. Well, it's good to have you back and, refreshed, I guess, for the second half. We got you back, and we'll have some fun this week. There's no games going on, but All-Star break, and so we'll get into some different things this week. Anywho, let's jump into this weekend's recap.
I don't believe it! My!
All right, players of the weekend, and we will start with Chris. You're up.
I mean, I gotta go with the big revenge game. One of several big revenge games from this weekend, but the only one that was from my Miami Marlins. Kyle Stowers.
Am I supposed to play this?
Well, I thought you had a drop. So, Kyle Stowers.
I will have my vengeance.
There you go.
In this life or the next.
Yes.
What he said.
A movie I've actually seen. How about that?
Yeah, good movie. Kyle Stowers. He went Maximus.
Yeah,
that's his name. Yeah, he went all Maximus on the Baltimore Orioles. 5 hits, 3 home runs. It was actually very funny. He homered in his first 3 plate appearances of the game, and the next 2 at bats he only got a single, and you could tell he was disappointed. He was hearing it from the bench. It was a fun moment. He had a stretch from about mid-May until mid-June. It was about exactly 1 month where I think he didn't hit a single homer. And it was kind of one of those situations where it seemed like, okay, well, that was fun for Kyle Stowers, but I think we can move on now. He was hot to start the season, but he got figured out, and he's been awesome ever since. And I believe Stowers does not have a single month this season with an OPS below like 780. Which is doesn't have a month with an OPS below 800. Actually, I wonder how many players you could actually say that about in the majors right now. And obviously Stowers right now is red hot. 6 homers so far in July, 1290 OPS. And you look at the underlying data and he strikes out a lot. There's a lot of swing and miss in his game, but he is hitting the ball more than hard enough to make up for it right now. And I don't know. I don't think he's as good as he's been. I don't think he's a 35 homer guy, but I think Kyle Stowers probably just has to be rostered in every format, right?
Well, I mean, at the very least, you got to say with this second act that the breakout is legit. So last 20 games now, 381, 9 home runs. Like that was better than he was doing even when he was hot at the start of the year. I think the most frustrating thing about Kyle Stowers is he sat twice earlier this week, back-to-back days, because the Marlins it was left-handers both of those days. Now, he did play against the third left-hander the Marlins faced this week, and it hasn't been a strict platoon situation with Stowers. But I should hope that, look, he's their all-star. He's going to be there on Tuesday in Atlanta, and I should hope that this latest surge convinces them, okay, this is just the anchor of our lineup. We need to keep him. He's batting .303 against lefties, no home runs, but he's hitting lefties better than most left-handed batters do, frankly.
Yeah, the thing for me is just you got to find out.
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable to assume that Kyle Stowers isn't good enough against lefties to justify playing, but neither are any of the guys they're going to play instead of him. You know, it's not like the Marlins have some great bench that they're missing out on. So take the next 2.5 months and just see if Kyle Stowers can be a legit everyday player. That's what this whole season's supposed to be about for a team like the Marlins. So I would hope that that's what they do.
How would you guys rank these three? I would call them mostly strong side platoon bats for their respective teams. Stowers, Addison Barger, and Josh Lowe.
I think I would go Stowers, Lowe, Barger.
Yeah, I guess so. I still think Barger has the most upside of that group. Maybe not for Roto because Lowe with the stolen bases, that gives him just kind of a different level of upside. I'm not that. I don't think my views on them diverge enough that I'm going to go against the one who's performing the best right now, you know? So, yeah, Stowers.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting questions right now just to rank all these awesome outfielders because, again, it has been a pretty plentiful position. I mean, there are names that have even moved up over 80% rostered now that I'm not even mentioning. Guys like Erickson Profar and, you know, Spencer Steer continues to hit, and Cedon Rafaela is on fire right now. So I think maybe those, at least in the eyes of people who play on CBS, have moved ahead of that group that we just talked about because they're all rostered in over 80% of CBS leagues right now. All right, I wanted to quickly mention while we're talking about revenge, get this one out of the way. Cody Bellinger on Friday, boom, same thing against the Cubs. 3 homers, 6 RBI. Honestly, could have had a 4th home run in that game. It was robbed by Kyle Tucker. So awesome season, awesome game here for Bellinger. You know, all of a sudden, he's hitting 280, 16 home runs, 9 steals, 830 OPS. It has been a very strong season for Bellinger here in New York.
So I wanted to point out with him, Chris had that stat about Stowers with the OPS over 800 every month. Bellinger's hit over 300 in May and June and now in July. So, you know, April was terrible for him, but otherwise it's going exactly as we could have hoped for. And he's, you know, basically looking like a stud again.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense, too, because apparently back in April, he was dealing with like a back thing. I think he tweaked his back early on in the season. He had the great spring training, then the slow start, mostly related to the back, I would imagine. And then, boom, as he gets healthy, starts to take off here with the Yankees. So all around, nice season here from Cody Bellinger. It hasn't been the best season for Julio Rodriguez, but, Scott, it was an awesome weekend. Maybe it could carry over into the second half.
Yeah, Julio Rodriguez is the sort of player that we have very little reason to talk about during the season because he's drafted universally, of course, and very high. And like, what are you going to do with him? No matter how he's performing, what are you going to do with him but just leave him in your lineup and hope for the best? But it had been pretty bad. He entered this weekend with an OPS of wasn't 700. It was 687 coming into the weekend. Decent number of homers, plenty of steals. So that, you know, made it not as bad as a 687 OPS would normally be. But all of a sudden now his OPS is verging on 750 heading into the All-Star break because he homered in each of the 3 games over the weekend, with 6 for 12 overall, had 2 steals too. So a couple socks and shoes over the weekend. And it just feels like we are gearing up to have the usual second half surge from Julio Rodriguez. And you look at the data for him, it's really not that far off from any other year of his career. In fact, the strikeout rate, that's probably the biggest change, and it's down. He's striking out a lot less. The pull air rate has been a little lower. It's never been amazing for him, but it's not so far off that it's like, oh goodness, I don't see how Julio Rodriguez is going to recover from this. I think this weekend was the start of it. He's going to be participating in the All-Star game himself. I don't think he's dropped out. He was kind of a surprise for some people that he even made the team with the 687 OPS heading into the weekend, but it feels a little more deserved now with this final weekend heading into the All-Star break. And I think I'm actually putting together, by the time you're listening to this, it may be up on the site already, redrafting the first 2 rounds for the second half. And I will say Julio Rodriguez is firmly within that first 2 round redraft.
Oh man, the YouTube commenters are not going to like that one, Scott. So
yeah, the thing for me this year, I mean, look, the power has been disappointing for sure, although less so than last year. And the biggest difference for Julio Rodriguez so far this season is just the BABIP is way lower than it's ever been. He's consistently been 345 throughout his career. It's 334 his career now, 345, 330, 344. And then it's down to 293, which is below average, or right around average for the league, but significantly below average for a player like Julio. So that's one where, you know, we have all the advanced stats and everything. And, you know, when I started this job 10, 11 years ago, it was a lot of like BABIP. You know, he's got a low BABIP. And we didn't really have like the nuance to talk about it beyond that. But this does feel like one of those cases where it mostly seems to just be a little bit of bad luck in terms of the number of hits falling in. And, you know, again, the power looks a lot better after this weekend. He's up to like a 24 homer pace. I would guess he still ends up around 30. It's going to be around 30 stolen bases too. I've moved Julio down, but like, man, the way people talk about him sometimes, I feel like people just forget that no, he was actually really, really good. And last year is the first year he wasn't like a top 20 player in fantasy.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it is, you know, people looking at, you know, OBP and OPS and things like that. And he doesn't really stack up to other quote unquote first or second round hitters in that department. But in terms of power and speed, a little bit of a letdown here, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we're still close to 30-30 by the end of the season. He's got to get the ground ball rate, I think, down. I think that's been kind of a big problem for his power so far, and maybe even affected the batting average as well. But yeah, hopefully this weekend, a start heading into the second half here for Julio. And let's talk about my player of the weekend. That is Chase Burns, who had the first quality start of his career. Of course, he did it against the Rockies, so pretty nice landing spot here. 6 innings, 2 runs, 10 strikeouts to 3 walks, had 15 whiffs on 95 pitches, had his main 2 pitches working here, the fastball, the slider, had 7+ whiffs on each of those, limited the hard contact, and just nice to see him get back on track here in a good matchup against the Rockies. But, you know, the first 3 matchups he faced to start his career, Yankees, Red Sox, who, you know, we assumed at the time, all right, that's a pretty easy matchup after they traded Devers, but lo and behold, their lineup is one of the hottest so far in the month of July. And then the Phillies. So pretty tough matchups there, but a nice bounce back here for Chase Burns. So in case anybody was thinking about dropping, which you shouldn't have done, it's going to take a little bit of time here. There's still a ton of potential for somebody like Chase Burns. I'm not saying he's a must-start pitcher every single time out, but I think there will be a lot of more starts that we are using him than not in the second half.
I still think, I know Jacob Misiorowski has been much better. I think Chase Burns is the better talent. I think in the long run, he's going to be the better pitcher. And I don't think there's very much difference between the two of them. If anything, Chase Burns has more present swing and miss stuff. And so I remain very, very excited about Chase Burns.
I think it will be must start before the season ends. I think we'll think of him that way.
I think so.
All right. Well, let's move on here before we hit our first break. Just a reminder that we will have a bit of a different programming schedule this week. We'll not go live as late as we normally do because there's no reason to do that. So hopefully we're going live around, 9, 10 p.m. Eastern time, something like that. We will do a redrafting the first 2 rounds for the rest of the season. We've got some other fun stuff coming up as well. Big thanks to those watching us live on YouTube. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
The crowd loves champions. Gladiator 2 is an epic spectacle.
To amuse you is my only wish.
The glory is yours, not mine.
Very good.
Gladiator 2, rated R, now streaming on Paramount+.
All right, welcome back in Fantasy Baseball today, and let's run through the news and notes. We did get quite a few injuries this weekend, and unfortunately, Scott, another one for your Atlanta Braves, man. I am sorry. Austin Riley placed in the IL with a right abdominal strain. Nacho Alvarez Jr. was recalled by the Braves to take his spot in the meantime. Now, Riley is eligible to return early in the second half. Abdominal strain, My guess is it's going to take a little bit longer than that. So we're in need of some replacements here. I think two names in shallower formats that stood out to me most this weekend, Noelvi Marte and Zach McKinstry, who just continues to play well. There's a little bit of pop, solid batting average. He's running a lot more lately. Who do you guys like between the two, Marte and McKinstry? They feel like the obvious third base ads right now. I guess.
Well, what about Barger? Yeah, Addison Barger is what I was going to say. I guess he's a little more rostered at 74%. I do think it's a close call between him and Noelvi Marte, who's looked great since coming back and looked great before he went on the IL too, and starting to recapture that hype he had heading into last year, the year that got wrecked, of course, by mainly by the PED suspension. But he was a top prospect from the time he was 17 years old in the Mariners organization and had a very strong debut 2 years ago and is starting to perform like that again. So I think Noelvi Marte, regardless of whether or not you need third base help, he is a prime ad from this weekend.
How would you rank those three, Scott, between Barger, Marte, and McKinstry?
I guess I'll give the edge to Marte over Barger, actually, just because I think the playing time is a little more secure, especially now that Christian Encarnacion Strand has been sent down to the minors. McKinstry, I don't really buy the talent for McKinstry. He has managed to keep it going all season to the point he's an all-star too. And he does have a little bit of speed there. But his exit velocities are some of the lowest in the game. And, I think if you're using him, it's fine, but you kind of feel like you're getting away with something.
I would not be adding him over anyone who I think has real upside, and I think Marte and Barger both do. McKinstry, this feels like last year, like Josh Smith was hitting 293 at the All-Star break last year. Alec Burleson was hitting 288. Like those guys both ended up in like the 260-ish range overall. So that means they hit a lot worse than that in the second half. I have no real faith in McKinstry keeping this up.
If you do need a third base replacement in deeper leagues, Brady House of the Nationals is quietly holding his own so far. 3 for 4 with a double dong on Saturday. He's hitting 258. He's got 2 homers, 2 steals, playing every day, 26% rostered. So he's a name that you can look at there.
He is my replacement for Riley and a couple of 15-teamers.
Yep. Next up, Brandon Lau was placed in the IL with left oblique tightness, retroactive to July 8th. He's another one that technically could return Friday for that first day of the second half. Not exactly sure it's going to play out that way. If you need replacements heading into the weekend, I think the two obvious names are probably the Marlins guys. They both have second base eligibility, Xavier Edwards and Otto Lopez. Who do you guys prefer between those two? I kind of want to say Otto Lopez. I think that's a fine answer. I mean, he had another strong weekend this week. He's been hot for a while.
I think the all-around skill set's just a little stronger there, where Edwards is a good source of batting average and a good source of stolen bases, although not as much of an outlier as we had hoped in either regard. And I'm not sure Edwards is probably a better source of batting average than Lopez, but
he's hitting over 320 for his second straight month. Edwards,
that makes sense.
But he's not running. He's not running nearly as much as we hoped he would.
Whereas Lopez already has 11 homers and 10 steals.
Yeah,
and I think that 250 batting average is a fluke. His XBA is actually 291. Now maybe he just doesn't hit that well. I guess he hit right at his XBA last year. So I kind of expect both to hit like 275, 285 the rest of the way. Maybe you give Edwards the edge on the batting average, but I think the rest of the production is going to be in Otto Lopez's favor.
Mm-hmm.
I would go Edwards, but it is a close call. I feel like Edwards maybe has a little more to gain while Lopez has a little more to lose. Even Lopez has been better so far, but I see them trending in opposite directions. But it's a close call.
Yeah, and some names in slightly deeper leagues. Jorge Polanco looks like he's picking things back up. He's 51% rostered, and then somebody even lower down, Tyler Freeman, who we've talked a lot about over the past couple of weeks. He's been leading off for the Rockies, batting average, speed there. and he is only 41%. So
I really like what Tyler Freeman's doing this season.
Yeah, he's making a lot of contact, lots of line drives.
He feels like he could be Luis Arias, but with 30-plus steals, the way he's playing right now in Colorado. Like, I think Luis Arias is a better contact hitter, but with the help of Coors Field, he might be that big of an outlier in batting average.
So he might be what we hoped Xavier Edwards was.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, that could be the case. Max Fried left Saturday to start early due to a blister on his left index finger, but sounds like he is improving thus far. Edward Cabrera left Friday with posterior elbow discomfort. An MRI revealed no structural damage. Sounds like he's not going to go on the IL, but obviously terrible timing. The Marlins are trying to, cash in and trade Edward Cabrera, and now he's dealing with this injury. And he was playing well for fantasy, so just kind of bad timing all around. Ivan Herrera was reinstated on Sunday, and he started at DH. He was also seen taking some reps in the outfield recently, so could maybe gain that eligibility. Chris, I think you brought this up. We need, is it 3 more games?
6 more at catcher.
6 more from Herrera at catcher in the second half so that he has eligibility next season for catcher. So,
because I think it's extremely unlikely he plays 20 games in the outfield, but even if he did, the bar's a lot higher to be fantasy relevant in outfield than it is for catcher. So I really, really, really hope he doesn't put his catcher equipment away and gets 6 more appearances, because that would be a real bummer if he was not catcher eligible next season. It would kind of, I don't know, he might be like, the last 2 seasons he has been a good enough hitter to matter at any position, but I'm not sure I buy that he's actually like an 860 OPS guy or whatever it is. So, the bar is just a lot higher at outfield, or especially DH.
O'Neal Cruz was out of the lineup Sunday due to a hip flexor injury, but as far as I know, he's still in the home run derby, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. Marcell Ozuna has sat out 3 of the past 7 games, and remember, back in early June, it was announced he was playing through that hip injury. And since that point, he's batting just 182 with 4 homers and a 577 OPS. There have been some rumblings that, maybe the Braves will listen on a Marcell Ozuna trade. He is a pending free agent, 95% rostered, 59% started at this point. I know I've asked you guys before, but now that he's actually starting to lose playing time as well, I'm not saying we're dropping Ozuna, but I think I'm a little bit more open to benching him at this point.
I want to see what it looks like coming out of the second half. Getting a week off or whatever it's going to end up being, hopefully that helps him a lot more than most. I think he really needs it. So,
and he did homer twice in the past week, and the most recent one, I think it was like a 420 footer. It wasn't a cheapie, so that was encouraging. I mean, part of it's just Sean Murphy's been so hot, but they don't want to take Drake Baldwin out of the lineup, so. Okay, we'll give Ozuna some extra rest so we can get both catchers in. It's funny they'll listen to offers on Ozuna. I can't imagine they're going to get that good of an offer for a broken full-time DH who is in the final year of his contract. I mean, what could they possibly get a value for that?
Maybe if they eat whatever's left on the contract, I would assume it's like $5 to $7 million. But yeah, they're just not likely to get very much.
It might be more likely that they trade Sean Murphy, Scott. Do you think that's a possibility?
I think that's the most likely of the Braves to get traded. I guess bullpen pieces could potentially be moved. But yeah, I don't really see them. I don't know. Like Ozuna as part of a bigger deal, possibly, but I don't think he's much of an attraction on his own.
Adley Rutschman is scheduled to continue his rehab into the second half, so perhaps he can return in late July. Jeremy Pena hit in an indoor cage and did light on-field work on Saturday. He's hoping to be back shortly after the All-Star break as well. Nolan Arenado was removed Friday with a sprained right index finger. He missed Saturday and Sunday too. And he's been dealing with this injury off and on, so it's been kind of annoying there for Arenado. Aaron Nola threw a 40-pitch bullpen on Saturday. He's scheduled to also throw Tuesday and then next Saturday. Again, the expectation is that he'll rejoin the Phillies rotation in early to mid-August. Lars Nootbaar was placed in the IL with a left side injury. He's been dealing with like a side rib thing for a while now as well. Luis Heel made his first rehab start at AA on Sunday. He recorded 6 strikeouts and allowed 1 run over 3 1/3 innings. He threw 72% of his pitches for strikes, and the fastball topped out at 97 miles per hour. With Alex Bregman back with the Red Sox, Marcelo Meyer will get the vast majority of playing time at second base moving forward. Christian Encarnacion Strand was demoted to the minors with Jake Fraley activated. Zebby Matthews began a rehab assignment at AAA on Sunday. 29% rostered. Any interest in stashing a Zebby Matthews?
A lot, yeah. His velocity was there in his first start back from the shoulder injury. It's possible he'll be back to open the second half. It's not like the Twins have a good reason to not have him in the rotation, so I think he's going to be back soon.
And that rehab start, 4 no-hit innings with 9 strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, let's go. Fire it up, Zebby Matthews. Tyro Estrada has missed 5 straight with a jammed thumb. The A's, reinstated Luis Arias and optioned Zach Geloff back to AAA. Red Sox pitcher Hunter Dobbins suffered a torn ACL in his start on Friday night. If you're wondering why the Guardians haven't promoted outfield prospect Chase DeLauder, it's he hasn't played since Friday at AAA due to right wrist soreness. So
they waited too long. He got hurt again.
I mean, at least it's not his foot. I mean, his foot has had so many different injuries, but it's not great. Others who went on the IL this weekend, Connor Norby with left wrist inflammation, Jake Myers with a right calf strain, Jesse Winker with back inflammation. A few other notes here. The MLB draft took place Sunday, and if I'm being completely honest, I don't know much about it at all, but the top 5 picks were Eli Willits, a high school shortstop to the Nationals, Tyler Bremner, a college starting pitcher to the Angels, and apparently he's someone that could be a pretty fast mover. No surprise, the Angels took him. Cade Anderson, a college pitcher to the Mariners, Ethan Holliday, Matt Holliday's other son, drafted by the Rockies. I mean, how cool was that? There was a picture going around of Matt Holliday while on the Rockies carrying around his baby Ethan wearing Rockies attire, and now he's on the Rockies himself. It's pretty awesome stuff there. And then Liam Doyle, a college pitcher, was also drafted by the Cardinals. I think we're going to try and do a podcast dedicated to the MLB draft and prospect stuff later on this week, but TBD. We'll see what happens. And some All-Star controversy. Jacob Misiorowski was named to the NL All-Star team after just 5 starts, which is cool for him. I mean, it's an amazing accomplishment. But for him to get in over a Christopher Sanchez or Ranger Suarez, that's not cool. Those guys are clearly more deserving.
I think Christopher Sanchez ended up making it too.
From what I saw,
but I think Misiorowski got in ahead of
the explanation, at least from MLB's side, was that they asked Ranger Suarez and Christopher Sanchez and one other pitcher if they were willing to pitch in the game. That was the deciding factor, and they said they were not. And that was why Misiorowski got picked. And then Sanchez's agent came out and said that he would have been willing to pitch. He had a $200,000 or $50,000 roster bonus if he made the All-Star game. The Phillies are giving him that bonus anyway. But I saw a lot of they picked Jacob Misiorowski over Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez and these, and it's like, well, that might not actually be what happened.
So I guess that's what I saw, just that Christopher Sanchez was getting the bonus for making the All-Star team, which I didn't know it was that much of a negotiation naming All-Star replacements. I assumed they just went, look, I kind of gotten confused about how All-Star selections work since they switched it. You know, when I grew up, it was fans pick the starting lineup, the manager picks everybody else. Yeah. And that was nice and clean. But now there's this whole complicated voting rubric. And I thought they just pulled the next name from the voting as the replacement. When I was kind of surprised Schwellenbach wasn't named as a replacement. And then, of course, he would get replaced also. But I guess that explains how.
My thing is, if you're willing to ask a pitcher, because they have the rule that like if you pitch on the Sunday before the game, you're not eligible to pitch in the game or something like that, or you have to get like a waiver from the team, something like that, and that's part of the calculation as well. But like if you're willing to ask the pitcher, would you be willing to pitch, and we will name you an all-star, and then they say no, just name them an all-star. And then say, but they're not going to participate. Like, who cares, right? It doesn't ultimately matter anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see Jacob Misiorowski in the All-Star game.
I
think that's going to be awesome. So I don't really care.
To see him as well. It's just I saw Phillies teammates quotes kind of just angry about you know Sanchez and Suarez not getting into the game, and from their perspective, I totally understand.
I get that. Yeah,
those guys have been awesome for a majority of the season. Misiorowski just got called up last month, so but I would like to see him pitch too. Yeah, I think that'll be a ton of fun. Speaking of All-Star Week, Home Run Derby is here on Monday night, and who is your pick? Here is who is participating in order of their betting odds: Cal Raleigh, O'Neal Cruz, James Wood, Matt Olson, Brent Rooker, Byron Buxton, Jazz Chisholm, and Junior Caminero. Who you got in the Home Run Derby?
I'm going with the long shot.
Caminero,
the guy who leads Major League Baseball in bat speed. I think Caminero is the best pick here.
Caminero! Ha! Caminero! I was about to give you the live rendition, but that's okay. I'm wearing the Matt Lana shirt today. Well, I'll be the homer and pick Matt Olson. I never pick right anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't realize they replace Ronald Acuna with Matt Olson?
Yeah, I think it's because he's dealing with like a back or something.
It's a back thing, yeah.
So
I will say, Byron Buxton. That's who I'm rooting for. That's my heart's pick for sure.
Yeah, bad job by me. I should have mentioned that up top. I mean, the fact that he went 5 for 5 with his cycle this weekend on his bobblehead day, just
so
boom,
good.
exclamation point on a ridiculous first half here for Byron Buxton. So I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit. I'll take Cal Raleigh. I'm going to take the favorite. I think he's going to get it done. All right, we do have ourselves a new segment here. It's called the Dog of the Week. We're going to be doing this twice per week where we talk about an underperforming player. We have a little bit of fun with it. But Chris, I'll let you take it away.
Now it's time for the Dog of the Week segment, brought to you by Boehringer Ingelheim, the maker of NexGard Plus, Afoxolaner, Moxidectin, and Pyrantel chewable tablets. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders, and ask your vet if NexGard Plus is right for your dog. And today, the Dog of the Week is... This guy just can't figure it out. It's Zach Gallen.
The dog of the season.
We buried him 3 starts ago, and he comes out and has, 19 strikeouts combined in his next 2 starts. He looks back, the curveball's awesome, and then he gives up 6 runs in 5 innings against the Angels? Only 3 strikeouts in 5 innings against the Angels? Zach, do we have to start singing Dust in the Wind again? I can do it. I know that song. What's going on with Zach Gallen, guys?
I don't know, man. You brought this up, I think, last time or 2 times out, that maybe he just goes as his curve goes, and his curve had nothing in this start. It had 0 whiffs, 14% CSW. He could not throw it in the zone. I'm honestly rooting for a trade at this point. I wonder if just a change of scenery can help Zach Gallen get back on track.
I did see Lance Prostowski in one of his recent newsletters. If you don't subscribe to Lance Bartowski's newsletter, you are missing out. It's great. He sends it, I think, every single day with notes on 3 pitchers from every day. And he mentioned something about the Diamondbacks being probably one of the worst teams organizationally right now in terms of pitch development and finishing off their pitchers. All the stuff that we talk about, the Mets doing really well. The Diamondbacks seem to be on the opposite end of the spectrum. And, you kind of see it with Gallen, where he just has had no answers this season.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like he was already a finished product, though, right? I mean,
right. But now that he seems to have lost it, and they just have not seemed to have an answer for it. I will point out the previous couple of starts. You mentioned he wasn't throwing his curveball in the zone in this one. I think it was 36% zone rate. Well, the previous 2 starts, I think it was 25% or something. It was really low. It was just it was working for him. He was generating the chases that he needed to. So he was able to make that change and make that work for him. So it's not necessarily that Gallen needs to be able to throw the curveball in the zone. He just needs to be able to throw the fastball high and then get the curveball under the zone, and he has not been able to do it, and it's been really tough for him, and that's why he's the Dog of the Week. And that was the Dog of the Week segment brought to you by Boehringer Ingelheim, the maker of NexGard Plus, Afoxolaner, Moxidectin, and Pyrantel chewable tablets. They provide next-level parasite protection against fleas, ticks, heartworm disease, roundworms, and hookworms, all in a tasty beef-flavored soft chew, used with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Dogs should be tested for existing heartworm infection prior to starting a preventive. Ask your vet about NexGard Plus chews.
All right, let's take our final break. When we return, we'll get into some other great pitching performances from the weekend, some waiver ads, all that fun stuff, and we will do that right after this.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine! Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong! It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball today. Some really great pitching performances that I just felt like we needed to get to before the end of the podcast. So quickly run through these. Garrett Crochet, masterful once again against Tampa Bay. His first complete game, first shutout of his career, where he allowed just 3 hits, 0 walks, 9 strikeouts with 14 whiffs on 100 pitches. And this is the third time Crochet has gone at least 8 innings this season. He leads baseball with 129 and a third innings, which, Scott, if you told me that coming into the season, I would have laughed at you.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you on that. That was probably the biggest concern for Crochet coming in, obviously, in the second half last year. The White Sox kind of pioneered a new method of managing pitcher innings where they kept letting him start, but not even going the minimum for a win ever. So they really were careful controlling his workload. And I guess the Red Sox are reaping the benefits now. You wonder at some point if it would be wise maybe to, dial it back a little bit, maybe preserve some again, so there's not this huge jump from one year to the next. But they're right in the thick of the playoff race again with their 10-game winning streak.
Now they are, yeah.
So I don't know how plausible that is.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we have Yuri Perez, who looks like it is happening. It's coming together right now. At the Orioles, 7 shutout innings, just 3 hits, 0 walks, 6 strikeouts, 16 whiffs on 84 pitches, 11 of those on the fastball. He really leaned on that pitch, and it was awesome for him here. Last 3 starts for Perez, 18 innings, 1 run, 21 strikeouts to 1 walk. Chris, it looks like it's happening, and it kind of feels like Yuri Perez is just a must-start pitcher now.
And the fascinating thing about this one, and they were talking about it all throughout the broadcast, is just the fastball was so good that he kind of didn't need anything else. He had 64% fastball usage, 11 whiffs on 33 swings. The fastball was overwhelming. The rest of the arsenal still seems like it's catching up. The slider's been very good for the most part this season. He threw that, 11 times today, something like that? Yeah, 11 times. 2 whiffs. The whiff rate up to about 35% with that one. Everything else, not where it was in 2023, especially the curveball. He's mixing in this new sweeper as well, and it all seems like he's still searching, and yet that's, three quality starts in a row, or 3 good starts in a row. He's got 21 strikeouts to 1 walk over 18 innings with 1 earned run allowed in the month of July.
6 hits allowed in those 18 innings.
There are some things that Yuri Perez does not do well. He gives up a ton of balls in the air. So there are going to be homer issues here, but he also gets a ton of pop-ups, a ton of weak fly balls, and that's going to, you look at the 6 hits allowed in 18 innings, and it's like, well, that's too low. Well, there's going to be stretches like that when you pitch to fly balls and get strikeouts the way he does. So it could work. And I will just always point out, he just turned 22. There might be someone drafted yesterday who was older than him. I haven't checked yet, but it's possible because he turned 22 3 months ago. Like, this kid is outrageously talented, and he was always going to figure out at some point.
All right, let's talk about Brandon Woodruff, who had himself a mixed start this weekend, but look, 10 strikeouts to 0 walks. He went 4 1/3 innings. He allowed 2 runs here, 13 whiffs on 81 pitches. Did allow some hard contact here. Velocity down across the board, so maybe just not amped up as much as he was in that first outing. But Scott, I wanted to give you the chance to talk about Woodruff because you weren't here last week when he made his debut, when he looked awesome. And then this one, he comes out and he gets 10 more strikeouts to 0 walks. So where are you at on Woodruff? I moved him up to SP 53 last week following that first start.
Yeah, I mean, this was a pretty awesome start. 10 strikeouts in 4 1/3 innings. You're getting more than 2 strikeouts per inning while walking nobody. So like it's obviously gone a lot better than I expected it to. Just the amount of strikeouts he's been getting despite losing 3 miles per hour on his fastball. I mean, I kind of feel bad about it, about how much I was talking him down, but his fastball was down 3 miles per hour, and this was a guy who was very fastball reliant.
And still
career.
is.
Well, I just think this new cutter that he's throwing about 20% of the time, it may serve as an effective enough counter to that fastball that it still makes it very effective, even with that diminished velocity. 2 starts isn't the final word. Lance McCullers had 2 really good starts in a row with a lot of strikeouts and then turned back into a pumpkin. He's also dealt with diminished velocity this year. So there's still more that needs to be sorted out here with Woodruff, but at the very least, like I don't know how available he is at this point, but he needs to be rostered just because there's reason for hope now.
Yeah, Brandon Woodruff is up to.
It's got to be close to 100%.
Yeah,
it was already close to 90 before he debuted.
Yeah, it's 93% on CBS, and I'll do a quick search here on Yahoo, and it is 78%. So in some shallower Yahoo formats, Brandon Woodruff could still be out there. Let's get into the waiver wire ads from the weekend. We spoke about some of these hitters already. Noelvi Marte, Zach McKinstry, Otto Lopez, Brady House. I thought all of those were pretty interesting and serve as fine replacements if you lost an Austin Riley or Brandon Lau. What about Giancarlo Stanton? The power coming around, 3 home runs in his past 5 games. The problem here, he has started just 18 of a possible 26 games since coming off the IL, 47% rostered. How does that number sound to you guys? Should Stanton be rostered in more leagues than about half on CBS?
I can't imagine him having any value in a head-to-head points league.
Mm-hmm.
So,
especially if he's not playing every day.
Yeah, like it's a one-dimensional power hitter who is not playing. He's playing 70% of the time. Do we really think that number is going to go higher? Given his track record, I can't see why the Yankees would start him 100% of the time. They've got other good players they got to cycle through at that DH spot. So I think this is, if anything, potentially too high for Giancarlo Stanton.
2 catchers who are picking things back up. Carson Kelly over his last 7 games, hitting .360 with 3 home runs and has started 4 straight, 10 of the past 13 for the Cubs. And Sean Murphy, who we mentioned earlier, double dong on Friday, another home run on Saturday. He has 7 home runs in his past 12. He has started 4 straight and 6 of the past 7. Who do you guys like more, Carson Kelly and Sean Murphy?
Sean Murphy. I think he's the better player.
Yeah, but especially if he does get traded to where he's clearly the number 1 guy, which I don't think is a certainty. I mean, he's signed to a pretty team-friendly deal, and particularly if Ozuna, the Braves allow him to walk this offseason, I think they have every intention of competing next year and might just like to have that high-end catcher tandem.
Mm-hmm. Scott, if they do trade Sean Murphy, who do you think would have more value rest of season? Sean Murphy on another team or Drake Baldwin on the Braves?
It might depend what the other team is.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close to a coin flip. I feel like Murphy has the lower floor of the two, so I'm going to say Baldwin based on that.
All right. 2 names in deeper leagues. Andrew Vaughn has impressed thus far with the Brewers. He homered on Friday, then went 2 for 4 with 4 RBI on Saturday. Has started 4 of 6 games this past week. And Angel Martinez making a little noise for the Guardians lately. He homered on Friday. He swiped the bag on Saturday. So far in July, he's got 3 homers, 9 RBI, 1 steal, and has started 10 straight. Any deep league interest in Andrew Vaughn or Angel Martinez?
A very, very small amount of interest in Andrew Vaughn. Just like maybe getting out of the White Sox allowed him to tap into something. He's got a long runway because Rhys Hoskins is going to be out until it's like September.
I think mid to late August.
Yeah, so it's going to be a while. He's got a chance, and he's got, I think, 10 RBI in his first 5 games or something. So, yeah, we'll see. I think it's very unlikely that either Andrew Vaughn or Angel Martinez matters much for fantasy, but Vaughn has some pedigree and has hit for power in the past, so let's see.
I just hate that like Jake Bauer was in the lineup today. It's some the 3 of the Brewers' last 5 games have been against lefties.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Vaughn started against one. I don't know. It's not clear how much Vaughn is going to play is my point, because they do still have Jake Bauer there and seem to want to play him. So,
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into waiver wire pitchers from the weekend. And the first group includes some names in shallower formats. Noah Cameron continues to perform, this time against the Mets. 6 2/3 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts, 16 whiffs on 93 pitches. Emmett Sheehan picked up the win in long relief following Ohtani on Saturday at the Giants. 4 2/3 innings, 1 run with 3 strikeouts there. Brian Bayo turned in another strong start, this one against Tampa. 6 1/3, 1 run with 5 strikeouts, and over his last 6 outings, a 2.06 ERA, 0.92 whip for Brian Bayo. And Trevor Rogers took a tough luck loss opposing Jansen Junk, who we'll get to in just a bit. But another revenge game here for Trevor Rogers against Miami. 6 2/3 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts. I'm starting to buy. I don't know, man. Every start, I'm starting to buy a little bit more here on Trevor Rogers. How would you guys rank this foursome here? Rogers, Bayo, Emmett Sheehan, and Noah Cameron.
I'm gonna go Sheehan. Obviously, he needs to get a little more length than he's had, but it's only 3 chances. Mm-hmm. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think the stuff is the best. I'll go Cameron over Bayo. So Sheehan, Cameron, Bayo, and then Rogers at the end.
Same order.
But I'm not totally dismissive of Rogers at this point either. He's average fastball velocity is the highest since 2022. His swinging strike rate is the highest since 2021, when he was like one of the big breakout pitchers of the year. Now, that swinging strike rate was just amazing in 2021. It's not quite that high, but 12.5% is pretty good. And obviously, the surface level numbers look even better for Trevor Rogers. So good that it's impossible to take them seriously, but still, 1.53 ERA, 0.82 WHIP. It's worth mentioning, and I'm skeptical, but there's enough of a history here, and we're seeing some signs of Rogers recovering what he lost with injuries that is possible. I'm keeping an open mind on it.
Mm-hmm. One note on Sheehan. I totally agree with you guys. I think the talent is awesome for him. I just kind of wonder when Blake Snell is back, and life can find a way. I get it. Like Dodgers pitchers, they drop like flies. But if they don't, once Blake Snell is back, I'm just kind of interested to see what the plan is here. Do they go with a 6-man rotation? Does maybe Dustin May get the boot or something like that? Because, you have to.
May they're going to have to at some point.
Ohtani also
right?
is. Ohtani's building up too, so he's going to need more innings. Then we can't just have Sheehan piggyback him, because then we're not getting enough innings from Sheehan either. So I don't know how it's all going to play out.
I think especially with pitchers, you cross that bridge when you come to it, because they do, not even just on the Dodgers, on every team but the Rays, strangely this year, they drop like flies. And, if it doesn't work out, you took the shot on the highest ceiling guy. And I think in the kind of fantasy leagues most people play in, which tend to be on the shallower side, that's always the right move, because you can fall back on the mid guys if the high end guys don't work out.
All right, next group of waiver wire pitchers. Dean Kramer was great up against the Marlins. 7 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts for him. 13 whiffs on 99 pitches. That splitter was awesome. Had 9 of the 13 whiffs. Quinn Priester was great in long relief against the Nationals. 6 innings, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts. He wound up with a win in this one. Max Scherzer turned in his first quality start of the season. He was at the Athletics. 6 innings, 3 runs, 8 strikeouts. Had 16 whiffs on 90 pitches. Both the 6 innings and 90 pitches were season highs for Scherzer, so we'll see how that thumb responds. And Landon Roop, who we've mentioned here and there, quality start against the Dodgers. I get that they've been scuffling a little bit, but it's still impressive. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts with 16 whiffs on 104 pitches. So I thought this was a pretty impressive start here from Landon Roop. Any of these names stand out to you guys? Roop, Scherzer, Quinn Priester, and Dean Kramer.
With Roop, the interesting thing for him is that he was so curveball dependent early on in the season, and it was kind of all he had. He was throwing it like 45% of the time, and my thought when he stopped throwing it that often was, well, this is going to be tough. This is going to be really rough for Landon Roop to be fantasy relevant. And then the changeup has actually taken a nice step forward over the past couple of months. It's not an elite pitch. It was a 27% whiff rate in June. It's up to 31% in July, but generally generating some pretty weak contact. It's allowing him to be a little less dependent on that curveball. I don't think Landon Roop is a star, but an above average strikeout rate, an ERA in the high 3s, that feels reasonable for Roop, and that's a useful player, if not necessarily someone who needs to be rostered in all formats.
He might be more useful than Drew Rasmussen at this point as a SPARP in a points league.
So the Rays did say that Rasmussen is going to be back on a 5-inning schedule after the second half, but if it's a 5-inning limit, if it's a 5-inning goal, that definitely puts a cap on how useful he's going to be in a points league. I think in Roto, the ratio should still be awesome for Drew Rasmussen, so he's a must-roster player if he's going to go 5 innings. If it goes back down to 2, 3, 4 innings, then you have to make some questions. But I do think in a points league, Rasmussen looks pretty droppable.
I wonder what that means for Joe Boyle, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at when I said the Rays have had the same starting 5 all season. It's crazy. In the year 2025 that any team could go the entire first half.
Especially the Rays who
yeah.
The talk about the Rays last season was they can't keep anyone healthy. What are they doing wrong?
It's been the last few seasons. Yeah. So Joe Boyle's had a difficult time finding his way in. Eventually something's got to give there. And now they've kind of grown impatient waiting for that opening to naturally develop for Boyle. And so they, not that his last appearance was that great, but obviously there's a lot of talent there and he's made strides with the control this year. So I hope they find a way to keep him around, whether it's going 6-man for a while or what. If I could just circle back to Roop for a second, Landon Roop, and you weren't selling him that hard, Chris. So this isn't me like contradicting you or whatever, but I did notice the same thing with the changeup. I went back and looked at the numbers since he first began mixing in the changeup in a meaningful way. It's during that time, Landon Roop has a 2.24 ERA. That's an 11 start stretch, 2.24 ERA, but it's also a 1.44 whip.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know that there's really much to see here. But I could see streaming him as a SPARP and with the right matchups.
Landon Roop kind of feels like National League Jose Soriano. It's like decent ERA, gets ground balls, but just an untenable whip.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
I don't know. That's what popped.
There have been some really dominant starts from Jose Soriano that make me hopeful there's more there, but obviously the last two, including this one this weekend. I mean, the biggest issue the last two starts for Jose Soriano, 57% strike rate.
His command is just terrible.
Yeah, it's when you're throwing strikes at that low of a rate, it really doesn't matter how good the stuff is.
Yeah.
All right, and the last two names in deeper leagues, Logan T. Allen turned in a quality start at the White Sox. 6 innings, 1 hit, 2 runs with 5 strikeouts. Last 6 starts for him, it's a 3.34 ERA and a 1.03 WHIP. Jansen Junk did it again. What did he do?
You can't keep getting away with it. You can't keep getting away with it.
He won't.
At the Orioles, 7 shutout innings with 2 strikeouts, just 5 whiffs on 85 pitches. But man, Jansen Junk down to a 2.68 ERA and a .99 WHIP on the season. Any deep league interest in Junk or Logan T. Allen?
I mean, sure, add Jansen Junk and ride the hot hand. It's fine. Just understand that at some point, a guy who misses bats this frequently and relies on contact as often as he is, it's going to blow up. And if you're in a weekly league and it's not a roto league, then that's probably fine, but it's not sustainable. He's not a sub-3 ERA pitcher. He's probably not a sub-4 ERA pitcher. And it's going to stop at some point, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
I'd be fearful of it stopping in his next start.
Yeah.
Because it's just like he's an elite strike thrower. That's the one thing he has going for him. But it's hard contact, and it's not mostly on the ground. It's the dangerous kind of hard contact. And when you're throwing that many strikes and you're not missing bats at all, he doesn't have any bat missing ability, Junk. I don't know. I mean, you're getting away with it every time he has a good start for you. And like one of these days, maybe next time, Chris kind of already said it, but it's all going to blow up in your face.
If you play in a deeper points league, he is a SPARP. So if you want to kind of use him for that eligibility, sure. But just echoing the same things that these guys already said. We did get some Mets returns this weekend. Kodai Senga was solid on Friday against the Royals. 4 shutout innings with 4 strikeouts. He had 11 whiffs on 67 pitches through 63% of his pitches for strikes. The forkball was nasty, as it always is. My guess is he'll get up around 75, 80 pitches next time out. And, he's not going to maintain a sub 1.5 ERA, but, maybe somewhere in the low to mid 3s rest of season on a really good Mets team. And Sean Manaea, solid in his season debut, long relief at the Royals. 3 1/3 innings here, 1 run, 7 strikeouts to 0 walks. Had 13 whiffs on 65 pitches, only allowed 1 hard hit. He just leaned on the fastball and the sweeper. The velocity was up in this one. He looked dominant. He was great down the stretch last year. So we'll see. There's a lot to potentially.
I was very excited to see this outing from Manaea, and I got a little concerned looking at his minor league rehab stint, and the velocities were down there. But then he comes back, his first major league appearance, and his velocity is actually a little up from last year. The fastball, it's way up on the sweeper. So I don't think that's an issue. But more than anything, I was excited to see Sean Manaea still throwing from that low arm angle that he adopted last July, watching Chris Sale pitch. And it completely transformed him as a pitcher. Made his fastball this dominant weapon with the, aiming high in the zone with it and getting swings under it. And that seemed to be happening in this 3 1/3 inning appearance against the Royals. Of those 13 whiffs, 10 came on the fastball. So yeah, he looks like the guy who transformed himself into a stud for the final 2 months last season. And I'm hopeful that Sean Manaea can be that in the second half.
Would you take Manaea over any of the first group of waiver wire pitchers I mentioned? So that's Noah Cameron, Emmett Sheehan, Ryan Baio, and Trevor Rogers.
I mean, based on the way he looked, I would take him over all of them. I would have said going into the weekend I wanted Emmett Sheehan more, but at this point I'll take Manaea.
I will just point out only 7 whiffs on 81 pitches, only 1 on the sweeper. So that's a little iffy. A lot of hard contact. It's only 1 start or 1 appearance. It was only less than 4 innings.
It was 13 whiffs on 65 pitches. I think you were looking at Clay Holmes' whiff total.
You're right. I was.
Give that man his respect,
Good call.
Chris.
That's confusing. The first pitcher should be the guy we're talking about listed. I take it back. 13 whiffs on 65 pitches. Fastball velocity was up.
Yeah.
3 whiffs on the sweeper. Okay. Forget what I said.
Yeah. I do think there's some risk here with Manaea. Obviously dealt with injuries all season. He had, like a loose body in his elbow recently that he had an injection for. So it's not a guarantee to work out, but if you're just risking a waiver wire ad, you're not really losing much. So why not take a chance on the potential we saw from last year as well? All right, let's get into some leftovers from the weekend here, and got a bunch of hitting stuff. So if there's anything that stands out, just interrupt me, go for it. Cal Raleigh will not stop the big dumper. 2 for 5 with a double dong, 5 RBI on Friday. He ends his first half with 38 homers, 82 RBI. Just insane stuff. Cedar Rafaela remains.
I think that put him 1 homer away from the record pre-All-Star break.
He got intentionally walked in his last plate appearance, I believe.
Which I assume it was Bonds in 2001 who had the record at the All-Star break of 39. But that's how historic this performance is for Raleigh. I mean, he needs, at this point, 11 home runs to have the most home runs in a season by somebody who primarily plays catcher. That was the record set by Salvador Perez just a few years ago, 48. Like, that's going to happen. I mean, barring some kind of very unfortunate injury. Like, that's a gimme. He's on a 64 homer pace, is Cal Raleigh. Like, he's got to slow down from that, right? But I think you can pretty easily say he'll be the first 50 homer catcher.
It is on pace for the best season by a catcher ever. Like, take into account that he's probably the best defensive catcher in baseball. Yeah. He's got 9 steals somehow. He has 3 or 4 more steals than anyone else at the position. Like, this is an absolute all-time season from Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to realize in the moment that you're witnessing history, but we'll look back on this season 5-10 years from now and realize, wow, I mean, that was the best fantasy season by a catcher that we've ever seen. So awesome stuff there from Cal Raleigh. Scott, did he make your top 2 rounds rest of season?
He will.
Yes.
He will. I'm not exactly sure where to slot him, because I do think he has to slow down. Of course, I've been saying that for a couple months.
Yeah.
I still think it's true, but yeah, I mean, he obviously has to be in the first 2 rounds. It'll probably be round 2.
Cedar Rafaela remains red hot. He had 2 more homers and another steal this weekend. 11 games in July. He's hitting .390 with 5 homers, 15 RBI, 2 steals, and a 1307 OPS. I mean, he has made just major improvements this season. Wyatt Langford has returned with a bang over his 9 games since coming back. He's hitting .324 with 2 homers, 4 steals, .954 OPS. Nick Kurtz keeps on mashing. 2 for 4 with a sock and a shoe on Friday. Then hit another home run on Sunday. And I know he strikes out a lot, issues against lefties, but man, Nick Kurtz kind of feels like he could be a league winner in the second half, man.
Since May 20th. This doesn't even include Sunday stats with the 2 for 4 with a home run. So, you could go in and add those in later. But since May 20th, he's slashing 280, 372, 688. Still striking out 32% of the time, very high, but at some point that doesn't matter anymore when you're hitting with the kind of power Nick Kurtz can provide.
Where are you guys ranking him right now?
I think I have him 8 or 9 at first base.
Yeah, I have him 9. And like Josh Naylor ahead of him, that wouldn't be too tricky. Bellinger's confusing it because he's been really hot lately.
I actually have him at 10, but
probably but I can... two catchers ahead of him.
Yeah. No, I have Wilson Contreras and then Torkelson just ahead. Torkelson just because he is going to play every single day and Kurtz is bad against lefties, but I probably should make that swap.
Yeah, I'll move Kurtz ahead of Torkelson. I have him that same arrangement, Torkelson 9, Kurtz 10. I'm at least going to flip those 2.
Yeah, I could see getting him ahead of Wilson Contreras as well, just because that power upside is so massive. Bellinger, I don't know, he's a little bit more like all across the board, good batting average, good steals too. So I don't think I would move Nick Kurtz ahead of him just yet. Jose Ramirez is on a tear. Last 7 games, he has 4 homers, 10 runs, 11 RBI, 7 steals. 7 steals in his last 7 games is insane. Tyler Soderstrom picking things back up last 7 for him, hitting .407 with 4 homers and 8 RBI. Aaron Judge homered on Saturday. He became the fastest player in MLB history to 350 career homers. He did so in 1,088 games. The previous record was 1,280 by Mark McGwire. So cleared that by almost 200 games. So, yeah, he's pretty good.
That's crazy.
Randy Arozarena continues his tear, 3 for 5 with a sock and a shoe on Saturday. He added another home run on Sunday. He is one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now. Byron Buxton, we mentioned earlier, he hit for the cycle on his bobblehead day. He's up to 21 homers, 17 steals in the first half. That ends his first half. Marcus Semien, 2 more home runs this weekend, and since the start of June, he's been one of, if not the best second baseman in fantasy.
Let me give you some numbers here for Semien. This does include Sunday. Last 40 games, 321, 9 home runs, 4 steals, OPS around 950.
Yeah.
He's not hitting the ball any harder during that time as Marcus Semien we're talking about. His strikeout rate's down a little as 14.9%, closer to where it was the last 2 years, but it's not like the strikeout rate has been a problem even this year. So it's interesting how so we got that trio of second basemen that have long been near the top of the rankings, but historically don't hit the ball that hard, perform well in fantasy despite not hitting the ball hard. Semien, Altuve, Ozzie Albies are the 3. Altuve and Semien have bounced back completely. They look like they've always looked here over the past couple months. We're still waiting for Albies, and I think there's a chance Albies doesn't bounce back because we've seen his numbers suffer every year. The ball has not carried as well as seems to be the case this year. But just because Semien and Altuve have that same sort of profile where they manage to hit for power despite pretty mediocre exit velocities, mediocre might be generous, in fact, that gives me some hope for Albies bouncing back also.
All right, next up here, Eugenio Suarez launched 2 more home runs on Saturday. He's up to 31 home runs, 78 RBI to end his first half. Just awesome stuff there. Mike Trout is coming alive, hit his 17th home run with 4 RBI. I believe that was on Friday or Saturday. And then Jackson Merrill reminded us all that he isn't done. He didn't just lose all of his talent. He went 2 for 4 with 2 home runs, 3 RBI on Saturday, and both of those came off of Zach Wheeler. So this is just a reminder, man. We know there's talent. I don't know what's gone wrong. Maybe just like all the weird injuries have piled up for Jackson Merrill.
He had a concussion, right?
Yeah, he did. And I think an oblique or
yeah,
something like that earlier in the season too. So it's just been some weird injuries for Merrill. So maybe it just kind of messed up his first half. But look, man, if you could hit 2 home runs off Zach Wheeler in a game, like there's no doubt in my mind that you're a good hitter. It's just hopefully he figures it out in the second half. Some pitching leftovers. Part 1, Carlos Rodon was awesome up against the Cubs. 8 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts. Nice bounce back for him.
Yeah.
Paul Skeens kind of feels like he's been limited lately. I don't know if you guys have seen or read anything about this, but it's 5 innings or fewer, 4 starts in a row. He's been right at 78 pitches, 2 starts in a row, which maybe that's on purpose. Matthew Boyd shut down the Yankees on Saturday. He threw 8 shutout with 6 strikeouts. And then Ohtani had his longest start of the season, 3 shutout innings with 4 strikeouts for him, but still just 36 pitches. They're bringing him along so slowly. Anything to add on Ohtani, Boyd, Skeens, and Carlos Rodon?
Rodon really needed this one, so that was nice. Skeens, at least in this start, it feels like he's going to pitch in the All-Star break. Let's pull him an inning early. That would be my guess on that. But it has been frustrating how often he's been pulled early, just in general. Not just here. There was a stretch back in June, I think, where he had a couple of 5-inning starts as well when his control was struggling. So Yeah, it's been. Look, he's awesome. It's hard to say anyone with a 2.01 ERA has been underwhelming, but I feel like he's been like a teeny tiny bit underwhelming.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, he was the consensus first pitcher drafted, right? None of us ranked him as our number one, but that's what he was. And I don't have Skeens anywhere because I wasn't willing to pay that price for him, but I imagine it's been pretty frustrating rostering him, certainly in a head-to-head context. Roto, maybe you don't notice it as much because you're just loving the ratios.
All right, next up, we have Shane Baz, who took a tough luck loss at the Red Sox. 6 1/3 innings, 1 run, only 3 strikeouts, but last 6 starts since introducing that cutter. It's a 2.75 ERA, 109 whip for Shane Baz. Jacob deGrom, a great outing at the Astros. 6 innings, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts. Velocity was up in this one. I don't know. I always get a little queasy when I see the velocity up for Jacob deGrom. I don't know, just pitch at your normal velocity and continue to be really good. That's what I want Jacob deGrom to do. Framber Valdez was even better than deGrom on the other side. 6 innings, 1 unearned run with 10 strikeouts to 0 walks. And Shota Imanaga, a strong start at the Yankees. 7 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. Anything on Imanaga, Valdez, deGrom, and Shane Baz?
I mean, Imanaga's been pretty underwhelming this year too, especially since coming back from the IL. A couple of really short outings. So to see him go 7, and really, I think the biggest difference in this start was he mixed in the sweeper more. He didn't just go fastball splitter. He threw his sweeper about as much as the splitter, and I think it helped the whole arsenal play up. So hopefully that was a step forward for Imanaga and. Figuring out the best method of attack here this season.
Anybody else feel a little sell high on Shane Baz? I don't quite trust it. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what to make of this new version of him that still has iffy command and still has consistency issues with the strikeouts. Like, I guess at least the good news is like he didn't get strikeouts this time and he didn't get bombed. So maybe the cutter's just helping in general in that way, but I don't fully trust it.
He's been the most frustrating pitcher this year.
I think so.
Because I was way out on him prior to the season.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had those 2 great starts to begin the year, or was it 3 out of 4? Moved him into my top 20. Fell apart after that, and then the introduction of this cutter had 4 really good starts in a row, 2 of them as dominant as you could ask for from anybody. But then these last 2, they've been fine, but the whiffs haven't been that impressive. So I don't know. I don't have him in any redraft leagues because I was out on him coming into the year. I have him in a dynasty league for a very good cost, and that because it's a dynasty league, because it's a good, like, I feel like there's even more riding on the decision, is now the time to trade him or not? And I'm leaning no, but
no, I think you should, Scott. I think you actually should maybe trade him to, I don't know, me.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about trading, like, we're in an hour and 13 minutes into this, so maybe not a good time to go on this tangent, but like anytime I have in that dynasty league, it's 24 teamer. Anytime I've had a pitcher at a very low cost, people are beating down my door to acquire him from me. I've almost always said no. And then the pitcher loses a lot of value very quickly. Ian Anderson is one example. Spencer Strider is another example, though, hopefully he's still regaining a good amount of value here. It's never going to be the kind of offers I was getting for him once upon a time. And, maybe that should compel me to follow through on trading Baz. I don't know. Still thinking about it.
Yeah, just keep thinking, Scott. Last group here, Nathan Eovaldi was awesome at the Astros, 7 2/3, 1 run, 8 strikeouts. Freddie Peralta, great once again against the Nationals, 6 2/3, 1 run with 7 strikeouts. Yoshinobu Yamamoto bounced back with a great start at the Giants, 7 shutout with 7 strikeouts. Christopher Sanchez went 7 innings again, this time at the Padres, 7 1/3, 1 run with 6 strikeouts. And Nick Pivetta opposed him He was great on the other side, 6 2/3, 1 unearned run with 8 strikeouts. So anything here, Pavetta, Christopher Sanchez, Yamamoto, Peralta, and Eovaldi.
Eovaldi just keeps getting it done. His velocity has been even lower, I think, since coming back from the IL, and it just hasn't mattered because he's going super secondary heavy. And I don't know, it's one of those things where we talked about, I think, Buxton last week and how hard it is to value a player like that because there's what they're doing and then there's the injury risk, and everybody knows the injury risk, so you're not going to get one over on someone in a trade. So I kind of think you just hold Eovaldi, enjoy it while it lasts, and if it falls apart or he gets hurt, you figure it out from there. But I don't think trading Eovaldi's really the move at this point.
Unless you could somehow get like top 15 pitcher value back, but it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I think you have to get a top 15 or top 20 pitcher or pitcher value back for him. Otherwise, it's just not going to be worth it. And I don't know. I can't say nobody's going to do that because people are reactionary all the time in fantasy, but it's like Buxton, where are you going to find the one person who doesn't know that this guy can't stay healthy? If you do, okay, great, trade him. But I don't think you're really going to get enough back for Nathan Eovaldi to make it worth it. But he could also get hurt in his next start or, have a 4 ERA the rest of the way because that tends to happen with him. So it's really tough. It's a really tough player to handle, and I think you just hold.
All right, the call to the bullpen for the weekend for the Rockies on Friday. Victor Vodnik got the 9th inning with a 1-run lead. He allowed 2 base runners, but struck out 3 for his second save. Seth Halverson got rocked last Wednesday, so I guess that's why they didn't use him on Friday. Then on Saturday, Victor Vodnik got another chance, and he took the blown save. So probably, I don't know, Rockies are bad, stay away. For the Braves on Friday, Raisel Iglesias struck out 1 for his 10th save. Dylan Lee had pitched both Wednesday and Thursday before that. Then on Saturday, Iglesias picked up another save. Dylan Lee worked the 7th inning of that game. So, Scott, is Iglesias just kind of back in the role?
Yeah, it sure seems that way, and he's been better lately. And I think it was always trending that way.
Since the start of June, he's got like a 2.20 ERA and 20 strikeouts in 15 innings. Do you know the last pitcher for the Braves to get consecutive saves before Raisel Iglesias this weekend?
Like on just 2 in a row?
2 saves for the Braves in a row, yeah.
It wasn't Iglesias?
It was Raisel Iglesias in May.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been my guess too, but yeah. All right, he's back in the role. We'll see if they trade him too. I mean, I guess that's a possibility here.
Yeah. He's in the last year of his contract, so yeah, he's one of the bullpen guys they could move.
If he's
bold
traded,
prediction.
Go ahead, Chris.
He gets traded and then they re-sign him.
Yeah,
it's going to be one of those.
The Chapman from a couple of years ago.
I could see that happening with Ozuna, frankly.
Yeah.
If they trade Iglesias, Scott, do you think Dylan Lee would just take over as the closer, or somebody else?
Presuming they don't trade him, yeah.
Yeah. All right. For the Marlins on Saturday, Ronnie Enriquez entered in the 8th inning with a 2-run lead, facing 9-1-2 in the Orioles lineup. He allowed a single, but that was it. The Marlins tacked on 4 more runs. Calvin Fauché closed it out in the 9th inning with a 6-run lead, but pretty clear they were using Enriquez as their highest leverage reliever in that one. For the Nationals on Saturday, Kyle Finnegan got the 9th inning with a 2-run lead. He gave up 3 runs on 2 walks and 3 hits, took his 6th blown save, 3rd loss. Kyle Finnegan does not have a save since June 6th, and he also has 3 blown saves during that span. So,
well, at least he's helping you out with a lot else.
Look, if they trade him, I don't know who would be. I guess Jose Ferrer would be next up. He pitched the 8th inning in this save opportunity. He also has a 5.03 ERA, and he's a lefty. So I don't know. Probably doesn't matter too much. For the Phillies on Sunday, Orion Kerkering entered with 1 out in the 8th, a 1-run lead. He allowed a single and a walk, but recorded the final 2 outs of that inning. And then Matt Strahm got the 9th with a 1-run lead. He walked 2, but picked up his 6th save of the season. Are we closer to figuring this out, or is it just, I guess it's Strahm until they trade for a closer?
Yeah, I think the guy who leads the Phillies and saves the rest of the way is not on the roster.
Yeah, you might be right. And
maybe it's Raisel Iglesias.
Ooh, within the division? Can they do it? I don't know.
Maybe.
I was going to say Carlos Estevez.
Do it again. For the Dodgers on Sunday, Tanner Scott got the 9th inning with a 2-run lead. He allowed a game-tying homer, took his 7th blown save. The Dodgers did wind up winning in the extra innings. I would just say, in deeper leagues, watch out for Blake Trinan, who started a rehab assignment this past week. Maybe he could work his way back into save opportunities for the Dodgers, because early on in the season when he was healthy, it was kind of like a, 60-40 split favoring Scott, but Trinan was firmly in that mix, so we'll see. And Tanner Scott has been pretty rocky here, so that's that. All right, Scott. Well, my gift to you for the first half ending is that there are no streamers today, so
yes.
we are going to wrap there. For Scott and Chris, I am Frank. Thanks as always for tuning into Fantasy Baseball today. Please make sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.